Okay, welcome to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. I have a really cool little review for you guys from the brand Divecore. Originally started back in 2020 as Vortex straps and headquartered out of Houston, Texas. Divecore specialized in professional grade rubber dive straps for ISO compliant divers, featuring their exclusive 2.5 millimeter fat spring bars. Now, this is their newest release, their Divecore Waffle, and it's essentially just a modern waffle with proven performance, of course, thanks to their development of their modern dive straps. Now, the Waffle strap, in their words, is their latest development at Divecore, and it's a purpose-built diving strap that blends the vintage character of a traditional waffle design with the technical upgrades and proven ergonomics of their HP model. Now, of course, this is based on that HP model, and the Waffle still does retain those essential features of the original while adopting that waffle style structure for a more classic aesthetic. These go for $65 as configured, or you can pay $68 if you want to get that black DLC buckle to match potentially a blacked out case, whether it be a ceramic case or of course DLC or even PVD. Those will all be options. Now, these are available in both 20 and 22 millimeter size ranges, and I have them available here, showcased on both 20 and 22. Of course, on the left-hand side, you have the Seiko Marine Master 300, the SLA 079. On the right, you have a Seiko mod that, I did years ago, which actually has a lot in common with this modern Marine Master, Prospex Marine Master, I should say. And the whole theme of this was basically supposed to be like an SKX enhanced. If essentially, what if scenario, what if there was a Prospex SKX? This might be what it looks like. So with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, so the key here when it comes to these new straps, it's really the fact that they're going to have that waffle pattern and of course the accordion style as well, mashing those two pieces up with the old and the new. And then instead of using their FKM rubber that they've used in previous iterations in terms of those HP straps, these are going to be using that HNBR, which is essentially hydrogenated nitrile butadiene rubber. And essentially the main difference is it's going to feel comparable to FKM, but without any forever chemical, kind of issues or reputations in case you're worried about forever chemicals in general. So it's going to have that, but there is going to be a trade-off, which essentially is going to be the fact that this is a more porous material, and it's gonna have a less of a sheen or a gloss to it. But pretty much every other measure in terms of strength, resilience, everything like that is probably gonna go leaning more towards the HNBR. So yeah, something to consider. And of course, we got these two beauties that do have a bit in common. And now you can see, if you were worried, hey, does this Marine Master more like an SKX? Yeah. It does. Here's it next to an SKX, and I will say proportionally very, very close, very similar. Now, again, this is just a bit of a strap showcase here versus, a full-on watch review. I've featured both of these watches multiple times on my channel before. I mean, this was even my most worn watch was in terms of last year and featured on Teddy's annual roundup. And this one has, of course, appeared many, many times and was a big, proponent to my channel catching on, when I was very much into Seiko mods. And that was before Seiko was really, delivering more in that mid-tier range, and they really had just essentially a big open gap. Where it was just really, of course, more entry-level stuff, and then, of course, the higher-end models. So now you're seeing them really develop that $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 range, instead of it just kind of being, hey, you're going to get something for under $1,000 or, a few thousand, depending on, whether you're going to be going with Grand Seiko or some of their higher-end models in terms of the previous SLA, and now they've even built out other upper tier models as well to include models that are going to have, of course, spring drive movements. Now, check it out. Let's start with the proportions here. I do like this, 20 millimeter lug, and then of course you could see that beautiful diamond pattern, nice signage there, and you can see nicely spaced here, a lot of options. And then you're also going to notice that nice open hole, which is going to actually go to this lock. You can see there's an icon for a lock because it's going to go through and be able to lock that tail section down. Both of these are floaters. You have fully milled hardware here to include the finger. It would be, actually the finger might be, no, that is milled. It would be nice if I'd see that upgrade, but again, at that price point at, $65, I think this is commensurate with the cost. It'd be nice if they were able to step it up. So if you're watching Divecore, definitely consider. But you can see here, check it out. Very nice. You do have their fat, quick release spring bars as well, which is quite nice. We'll get this one on the wrist here and just demo that, because this is not a watch review. This is a strap review. So that feels about, we'll go a little tighter. And the nice thing is, again, very nice tight adjustments there. And then we put this through. We're going to butt that up towards the pin buckle, and then we're going to have this pin that in quite nicely. Check it out. Very nice. We'll leave it nice and low there, of course, beautifully sitting on the wrist. Again, I would say really the only trade-off, because in most ways this is going to be quote unquote nicer in terms of, again, longevity, rip resistance, all those things, hot, cold weather, all of the effects. This is going to be better, except again, it's going to be a bit more matted, meaning that in terms of dust and stuff like that, with the more porous styling there, aesthetically, it's going to just be a little bit less dynamic and a little bit flatter, but I think it works fine. Check out that granular dial, the matteness there with the matte here. I think it flows quite well. On the other hand here, pun intended, we'll go for this nice SKX mod. And of course, I am having to reach around the tripod here. It's going to take me a second. I'll say the 20 millimeter definitely had a little bit, of course, with the skinnier sizing, it's going to be a little bit more pliable. This feels slightly more stiff here on the 22 millimeter lug, but it by no means is a deal breaker. You're going to need that stiffness for a big kind of top heavy type of diver layout if you're going to go with something like that. But check that out. Very, very nice. Comparisons here. Hey, still quite nice. I like that it's symmetrical. You have the single accordion bump, so I think that looks very good. And of course, it's going to still give you those benefits in terms of your wrist expanding or retracting due to the water pressure as well as the water temperature. So what do you guys think? Are these things pretty sweet? In terms of closing thoughts, guys, these are of course classic, classic meets modern in terms of that waffle dive strap, that whole aesthetic. And it's to still be reasonably versatile across other models as well. Of course, you're going to probably want to put this on. This style is quite iconic to Japanese dive watches. So if you want to put this on a Citizen, Orient, of course, Seiko, right? I think that's going to look really quite outstanding. Do note that these ends are quite robust in terms of their, sorry about that, I'm getting distracted by this strap, where it meets the case on this end, it's quite robust. You can see the nice thing is that it does fill the gap quite well, but with that, if you are putting this on a diver that might have hooded lugs, or where a setup where the spring bar is butting up a bit too close to the case, you're going to run into some clearance issues. You can see here, you're not going to get clearance issues here because the case is already shaved for it to have more clearance. And then on this side, there's just enough room there. So again, not worried about it, but definitely something to consider. I know there are some diver models that are out there that are going to be less accommodating than these models, so I did want to cover that. So guys, again, with the closing thoughts, everybody really loves a good waffle strap, right? Especially if you enjoy this aesthetic, you enjoy collecting Japanese divers. And those who might have had issues or reservations about using FKM rubber straps, I think they'll be happy to see the use of HNBR. Although again, a little bit more porous, less glossy than FKM, pretty much every other measure, it's going to excel and exceed. Now, I think at the price point, this product does feel really well dialed in. While there are more premium options out there, that comes with the territory, right? They also come with higher price premiums. So while others could always, become more refined in the future, right? With these, like we can see, like maybe they'll try different things. But I mean, this is really nicely executed for this current generation. You could improve things, but I think this is still quite balanced and a good, generally a good value. I would like to see, of course, I think a slightly elevated hardware here on the pin buckle. Other than that, I think this is good to go. I think there are probably some people who don't care if they're FKM rubber, so I would love to see them still offer this in FKM, but I do understand as well that, you want to stock items that you think are going to sell, or I should say, are going to sell. And with that, you do have to diversify and differentiate. So with that said, let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please like, and if you're already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.